Okay, so my name is Raquel. I work at the University of Reading in the UK as a software engineer. We at the university are part of a European consortium along with another 9 companies and institutions around Europe. We work in a project called CHARMe. It's a 2-year project funded by the European Union, and hence that bunch of logos there. So during the presentation, I'll introduce the idea behind the CHARMe project and what's a climate dataset, which is the main area we are working on. I'll also talk about how we've used Open Annotation so far and other use cases we want to tackle in the next few months before the project is over at the end of the year. So scientists often go to data provider sites and look for data, and they fill in a search form, and data providers come up with a huge list of results, and it's very difficult for them sometimes to know which is best for them to use for their specific studies. So there's metadata that exists already in the web. Some of it, most of it created and generated and discovered by users, but it's not properly linked with the datasets. So this metadata could be external events that may have affected the climate data, like there's a volcano eruption or there's a failure in an instrument in a satellite. So linking those metadata with the dataset is what the CHARMe project aims to accomplish, so that users can find the climate data they are looking for and share also their knowledge in the climate data community. So what's exactly a climate dataset? It could be a table with data or some data along a period of time. It could be a map. It could be something more complex like a 3D model or even animations. This should be an animation, but it's not working. So this is quite straightforward. If all these climate datasets live in a URL, it's very easy to use the Open Annotation model to link the metadata, like a user that found about a volcanic eruption that may affect the data. So they link it to a dataset, or maybe they want to share comments between them with the people they work with in other areas of the world. So this picture here on the left is from some colleagues of mine a couple of years ago. They went on a cruise over near the UK, and when they came back, they were using the images that I was processing and putting them in a big panel and sharing they wanted to discuss about the data in that way. And we were thinking also about making that in a more, so they could do it online somehow. So, So they were interested in talking about the timing of the events when the data sometimes is, for example, temperature is higher here, or they want to share also knowledge about specific areas of the world, or they want to intercompare data sets. So the previous use case is not enough for them. They want to refer to fine-grained data. So this image here, they represent some of the most common formats used in science, which is called NetCDF. And it represents a layered set of images, and they could be, each of the layers may represent a different depth in the sea or in the land. It could be, each of the layers could be a different instant of time. So in the image to the right, it seems like those are pixels, but they are really not. It depends on the sensor that is collecting the data. So it could be, depending on the application they are displayed in, each of those cells could be 10 by 10 pixels or 1,000,000 by 1,000,000 pixels, but that's a lot. But, it's difficult to reference those as it is done in Open Annotation with SVG selectors. So we were thinking that probably it would be a good idea to add in the Open Annotation model some other selector for geographies. We could use, as the previous presenter said, something like the well-known text or something like that to refer to the geographic areas, and also something to refer to temporal subsets of these. So this project is all about climate data, but it could be expanded to many other areas. So we think there's quite a lot. There are big communities around that would be interested in this. There's previous efforts done that we could, from which we could gather more knowledge. There's also things that have been done by W3C and OGC together about GIS data. And there's not a standard way yet of doing this, so it'd be nice. We look for one. That.